Hi guys, let's see about version control tool today. So actually we are going to see Git. So actually there are multiple providers of the source code management tool. For example, we use GitHub and then we use Bitbucket. And in case if we come for cloud, we have like AWS code commit and multiple other providers are there. So if we see that, so what exactly this version control tool does? So as the name suggests, it maintains multiple versions of the source control. It is also called as source control. What is the main use? Like it will track and manage the software code changes. So for example, if multiple developers are working on certain project and if they are working on different features or different parts of the application, they have to maintain the application in a common place so that all the team members will be aware of what exactly changes are happening, and in case if they have to build the application, they should have a common repository. So they maintain it in the code repo called GitHub or whatever the tool they use. Um, so what is the basic concepts of version control? The main thing is like it will keep the history of changes. It is called as code commit. So based on that commit, actually you can revert commits, or else in case if some changes have been done, those things will be tracked easily. So when we come, actually we have like three important concepts. One is like a remote Git repository. Remote Git repository is the GitHub or Bitbucket or whichever tool we use. So that is called remote Git repository. Whereas local Git repository, it is like our local machine. We will be creating a temporary folder or repository on our machine. So that is called the local Git repository. And then we have Git CLI, like Git client. So using this, we will be moving the code to different stages, and then we will be pushing the code to remote repositories. And then by default, Git is capable of taking care of merging, but it cannot resolve the issues in case if there is some conflict. So manual intervention will be required. So normally, if you see this, we have like three stages. One is working directory, and then staging area, and then local repo. So if we have to move a file from our local working directory to staging area, we have to use the command called git add. And then in case if we have a single file, we can use the file name, or else we can use dot in case if we have multiple files. And then to move the file from staging area to the local repository, we have to git commit that one. So it is called committed stage. To move there, we have to use git commit. And then we have one more stage, that is the remote repository. So to push from local repository to the remote repository, we can use git push or git push command. And then if we make some changes directly in the remote repository, if we have to pull that to our local machine, we can use git pull command. So initially, when we log into GitHub or GitLab, we can go into the project and we can create a project, and then we can assign, like we have to keep that repository as private or public. So based on that, when we click on create project, the project will be created. Once that is done, you can do git clone and you can push in your codes. So from remote repo using the git CLI, you can use it in our local repository. Um, And then we have one more concept called branching. Okay, so for example, we have a main branch that is used in the production, and in case if we have to introduce a new feature which will be helpful for that application, so we can't directly test that new feature in the main code. So in case if we are testing in the main code, we may crash the system. So we will create a new feature branch, and then we will start working on that feature branch. Once the feature branch has been verified successfully, then actually we will be pushing the code to main repo. This is the concept of branches. So we can have multiple branches like feature branches, and then in case if there is some bugs or errors, we can create some hotfix branches, and we can push it to the repos. So to work on multiple repos, multiple features and things, we can use this branching strategy. So normally, as we have seen, we can do merge or pull. Merge is like in case if we have the branches, we can do merge into the main branch. Pull request is to pull the code from remote repo to the local repo. And then why DevOps engineers will be using this Git? So mainly DevOps engineers will use these things. For example, we will be writing infrastructure as code, like a Terraform code, and else we will be maintaining some automation scripts. And then if we are a team of five, we will be switching between, like for example, if I have written a automation script, in future if we have like few changes, someone from our team may be making modifications. Then actually we can maintain the versions, like version 1 was created by me and version 2 will be created by someone else. So the history will be maintained, and in case if something goes doesn't go well, then we can revert to the old commit. That is the main advantage of Git. And then even we can use them in CI/CD pipeline. In dev environments, we can make the pipeline in such a way, once the PR is approved, the Git merge happens, and then end-to-end CI/CD pipeline will run based on those Git changes. So we can configure Git changes like that, and then we have multiple commands. So let's see the practical. Okay, now we are in the GitHub repo. Just we can go to the new repo. Now we will give a name to this repository. Okay, so let's give it as test. So it is available. So the repository name is test, and then I am keeping it as public, and then I am just creating the repo. Okay, so now we have the repo. So we can just take this repo ID, and then we can just clone it on our machine. We can go into this folder. So I will just do right click and do git bash here. So once this is open, I will just do git clone, and then I will pass in that URL. So it is just cloning. So if I see here, we have the test folder, cd test. Okay, so now let's try to add a file. Okay, to add a file we have to do touch file. Okay, so once the file is there, when we check the git status, so it is an untracked file. Okay, so as we seen earlier, so initially it will be in the working directory. Okay, so once it is in working directory, if we have to move it to staging area, then actually we have to add git add. Okay, git status, and then I will do git add, and we can pass in the file name. And then when I do git status now, actually, okay, it is moved to staged area. Okay, now once it is moved to stage area, then actually we have to do git commit -m, and then we can give a name, for example added a file. Okay, so now when I check git status, it will show like nothing to commit, and working tree is clean. Okay, so now if you see this diagram, so actually it was initially we are in working directory where we have created a file, and using git add we have moved it to staging area, and then we have given git commit, and then we have pushed it into the local repository. So when we do git commit, actually we have to give a meaningful message. -m refers to message, so we have to give a meaningful message. So, for example, if we are a team and we are working on certain thing, and in future, if someone comes and sees, they have to understand like what exact changes has to be done, has been done. Okay. So once this is done, if we see here, we don't have any files. Okay, we don't have any files. Now what I will do, I will just do git push. Okay. When I do git push, so actually when I refresh the page again, so we are able to see the file. So if we come here, so actually we have cloned the repo, and then we have checked the git status, and then we have added a file, and then we have committed a file. Okay, and then we have git pushed. Okay, so for example, now we have created a repository here. Because of that, we are able to clone that, and we are able to do. But in case if, for example, I'm coming out of this one, so let me create a folder. Okay, I will create the folder as new. Now, if I add a file here, okay, I will just do git bash here, and then I will do touch file. Okay, now when I try to add a git add, it is giving an error like not a git repository, because when we check this repository, to make this repository as a git repository, it should have a file called .git. So when I check this one, so I don't have any file like git. Let me come back again, and then I will go to uh, other folder which we have created, for example test. So when we come here, when I do ll-la, if you see, it already has git folder. Because of that, it is acting as a git folder. Whereas if we see the other folder, we don't have that git folder, so git commands it will not execute. So to convert this repo into a git repo, we have to do git init. When we do git init, then initialize the empty git directory. Okay, let me execute the command again. If I see here, we are able to see the git repo. Okay, so this is the initializing. And then let's move back again to that test folder. Okay, now I have made the commit, right? So once we make a commit, actually we will have the commits saved. So when I, if we have to check the commit, we have to give the command git log. When we do that one, we are able to see like the commit ID. This is the commit ID, and then we are getting the author name, my name, and then email ID. So, for example, we have a team of 5 members. So, in case if someone is making changes, we have to know like who has exactly made the changes, right? So, to configure the users, we have to configure this git config hyphen global username. So if you give the username and then git config global user email, you can give the email ID, so that it will show like who is the exact user who have made the changes, so that our team members will get to know like who exactly have made changes, and they can collaborate with them in case of any issues. And then if we are creating a folder, um, normally for example we have a file like this. So let's consider this as GitHub. Okay, this is the GitHub. Okay, so inside GitHub we will have multiple repositories. Okay, and then in case, for example, if we come here, if we go to, if you see here, we have a repository like test, Maven demo, simple Java project, Terraform project, Kubernetes DevOps. So, in case if, as I shown here, in case if we have multiple repositories, how that Git CLI will know like where exactly I have to push. If we initially when we try to contact, it will come to GitHub repo. Okay, that is fine. But how it will know like to which repository it has to go. So to configure this config, we have something called git remote add. So when we do git remote add and then origin, and then we have to give this URL. This URL is nothing but when we go here, we have this one, right? So this is the URL. We can just pass in this one. So we will be able to mention like to which git repo it has to go. Okay. To configure that, we are using this git remote add. Okay. And then git status we have seen, git add, git commit, and then git log now we have seen. And if we see here, when we do git log, when we do git log, actually it is giving like many details like author details, everything. For example, if we have multiple commits, then seeing this it will be difficult. So then we can do git log hyphen hyphen one line, so it will show in a one line just the commit id, and then which is the head, those things. So this is like we can use this one whenever we want to see the multiple commits. Okay, so let's see what is next. Git push. Git push we have seen. In case if we have to push our code to remote repo, we can use this one. And then we have something called Git branching. Okay, so Git branching is nothing like. So, for example, um, we have one main branch. Okay, we have one main branch, and then it is going for prod. Okay, so we have some new feature. Okay, for example, we have some application, and then we are introducing some new feature, like we are introducing chat gpt like feature. Okay, if we are introducing like a chat gpt like feature, so they can't test it directly in the prod environment because it may crash the environment. So we have to create a new feature branch, and then they can do code changes here. Once the code changes are done and verified, once it is verified and if it is fine, then they can merge it in the master branch or main branch. So we have to create branches. For example, if we have some issues, we can create a bug fix branch, or else in case if some hotfix has to be given, we can create hotfix branch like this. Okay, so let's see how to create the branches. So if you see here, now we have only one branch. Okay, we have the main branch and we don't have any other branches. Okay, now if we go here. Okay, so to check the list of branches, we have the command called git branch. Okay, so when I do git branch, it is showing only one branch. It is main, and in which branch we are working, that will be represented with star. So we are working the main branch, and we can find it in another way also. That is like we will have this mark like on which branch we are. We will know like this. Okay, now let's create a new branch. Git, to create new branch, we have to use the command git branch, and then for example, if I am creating some full branch like dev, now the branch is created. When I check again, so I have main branch and dev branch. Okay, now I have to switch to dev branch. So to switch, we have to use the command git checkout. Okay, git checkout dev. When we do this one, it is switched to dev branch. Now it is moved to dev. Okay, and then even if you see here, the star will be moved to dev. Okay, now actually we have cloned the main repo, right? So whatever files we add in main repo, it will be in this dev repo as well. So if we see this one, so we have this file as well. Okay, now let's try to create a new file. Okay, now let's try to create a new file. Okay, now we have to check the git status. So it is in untracked files, right? So it is in untracked files. Now I have to do git add git commit hyphen m new file in dev. Okay, so now if we see the status, nothing to commit. So now if we see the log, git log hyphen hyphen one line, so it has the git commit id of 2bc2. Okay, so now I will check out the main branch. To check out the main branch, we can use the command git checkout main. Okay, now if I see the git log here, actually it is having only one commit. Okay, but here we're able to see the new commit. So also I have created a new file called file1, right? So let me see here. So here if I see, I don't have the file. Now I have the, let's consider that feature branch is for ChatGPT or some AI tool, and then we have to merge that with main branch. So to merge, we have to use the command git merge, and then we have to give the commit name, means branch name. Here our branch is dev. Okay, now when we do this one, it is merged, and when we see ll, we have the new file. Okay, and then um, if we see the git commit id, it is 2b32712, 2b32712. And then if you see something, it is like fast forward commit, means this actual test repo doesn't have any new changes, that's why it is fast forward. In case if it add some other changes, then it will create one more id. Okay, commit id. So we have seen git branches, and then git merge, and then git checkout. Okay, so now let's see what is the difference between git merge and git rebase. Okay, so um, now we have everything fine. Now let's check out to dev branch. Okay, okay, now we are in dev branch. Now I am creating a new file. Okay, this file is file 2. Now we have file 1, file 2. File 2 is created now. Git status. Okay, now we have file 2. Hmm? Now what we can do, just we can do git add git commit hyphen m file 2 added. Okay, now when I check the logs, git log, we have new commit id. Okay, this new commit id is for file 2. Okay, now we can check out main branch. So if I do here, we have only two files. Now file 2 is created in dev branch. Now let's try to create a new file here. File 2 is there already, so let's create file 3. Okay, let me, we can also check the commit IDs. So here we only have two commits. Here we have new commit called fccd. Okay, now what we can do, now when we to do git add git commit, and then we can change this one to git commit hyphen m file 3 added. So okay, when we check the git status, so nothing to commit. Okay, now uh, let's see the difference, like what is the between merge and rebase. Okay, git merge, and then what is the branch name, dev, right? Let's create dev. Also before this, let's check the git log once. So now we have d2. Okay, now we have d2 for file 3, and then for file 2 we have fcc. Now let's merge, git merge dev. Okay, so it is asking for this one. Let's save this one. Okay, okay, now let me check git log. Okay, so if you see here, for file 2 we have fcc, for file 2 we have fcc, and then for file 3, and for file 3 what we have d2. So for file 2 we have 3.2, but we have got a new commit. Okay, this is the main difference. Let me explain it here. So the main difference between git merge and git rebase, for example, we have a commit A, okay, and then we have a commit B. So this is the main branch. Okay, this is the main branch. So we are creating a new feature branch. Okay, for example, we are creating a new feature branch called dev. Okay, and then we are making a commit. Okay, let's consider it as C. And then meanwhile we are in the main branch we are making some other changes. For example, it is D. And then once the feature is completed, we have to merge it with main branch, right? So when we merge, what happens? We will have the C, this code we will have, and then it will create one more commit, E. So this new commit will be created when we do git merge. So if you see here, this commit is created newly. When we see this one, this is for file 3 and this is for file 2, and but we got one more new commit. That new commit is nothing but this E. Okay, but what is the difference between merge and rebase? In case of rebase, we will have commit A, commit B, and then we are creating a new feature branch. Okay, and then we make a commit, for example C, and then we create a file here similarly, like for example D, and then when we merge this feature branch, once everything is done, so when we are merging, so what happens, it will just have C. Okay, it will not create this additional commit. So this is the main difference between git merge and git rebase. So okay, let's try git rebase now. Okay, so now let's check out dev. Okay, now we have checked out the dev. Now if we see, we have file 1, file 1, file 2. Now let's try to create a new file. Okay, file can be like file 4, because file 3 we have created in main branch. Let's create file 4. Okay, and then I am doing git add git commit -m file 4 rebase test. Okay, we have done this one. Now when we check git status, nothing is there. So let's check git log as well. Okay, so we have got the commit as F664F. Okay, now let's check out main branch. Okay, so here we let us try to create a, if we see here, we have file 3, but we don't have this file 4. Okay, now let's create a new file. Okay, now we are creating new file which is like similar to this one, creating a d file. Okay, so to create d file, let's touch. Okay, touch file 5. Okay, git add git commit -m file 5. Okay, so this is done. Now let's check the log. Okay, so file 5 as 00bb, and then git rebase as f644. So what happens when we do this one? So everything should remain same, but this commit id for file 4 commit id should come here, and file 5's commit id will change. Why this will change? Because of rebase. Okay, now let's do rebase, git rebase, and then we can give dev. So successfully rebased. Now let, if we see, this commit ID will be changed, and file 4's commit ID will be added in between, in below of file 5. Now let's see, check. If we see here, this commit ID is changed. Okay, and then file 4 is added here. File 4 is added, and then this commit ID is changed. And why we got file 3? Because of before we used git merge, right? Because of that. Okay guys, so we have seen git rebase and git merge. So this is like a very important topic. Okay.